Like you see guys like Canelo who get no credit. He started off as mainly a welterweight, or maybe a couple fights, was dominant at junior middleweight, but has jumped went as high as light heavyweight to beat a very good fighter. And he not only beat him, he stops him, knocks him out, and gets absolutely no credit.
What is good? Danger Zone Boxing Talk, as always, is your host, B Left Hook, with my partner in crime, Twine. And Twine, tonight we're going to get into some topics. We're going to end it with talking about the Errol Spence and Danny Garcia matchup. I'm going to let you, open up, talk, about a little bit of how your day is. I'm going to share the feed around for a second.
All right, for sure. Glad to be on another show with you, man. Glad to be doing this again every Friday. Man, there's a lot to get into. I'm actually surprised you used that Canelo entrance as far as reference from Kelly Pavlik, because I wanted to see if we could throw that in there. What people are. I'm seeing a lot of things going around in the groups as far as Canelo only giving Kano Smith 4 weeks, so I wanted to get your opinion on that later on in the show. So I thought that was pretty interesting you used that intro because it made me think it.
It was just because it was the closest one I could click on. To be honest, I got to put my thing on. Well, go ahead and open us up. I know the first topic is going to be the Roy Jones Jr. Mike Tyson card. Why don't you open that up and give us your thoughts on it? How did it go for you? Was it worth the money? What did you think, man?
I definitely think people got their entertainment worth for $50, I believe. Is that what the cost of this one was? $49.99?
Something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely was entertained by it, even for it to be a exhibition. Like the card in general is pretty impressive, especially Snoop made the commentary day, as far as his jokes and everything he was saying on there. So, I mean, I definitely liked that. I liked hearing the MMA guy on there as well, Israel Adesanya. I was hearing him on the commentary. So, I definitely enjoyed the card. I mean, we all picked Roy to win, I think, on the last show. So, I mean, you got to live by that one. I was actually surprised by Mike Tyson as far as, we had talked on the show that people didn't think he could go to 8 rounds. He not did it. He did it while smoking. So, I mean, more props to him because he definitely went 8 tough rounds with him, and, he let it hang loose while he was in there. So I was impressed with what I saw as far as their fight. And I don't know if you want to save the Nate Robinson thing for after you, but
yeah, we'll talk about it after this. I've went on record that I approached the card in the event is simply a show. I didn't come into it expecting a serious boxing event, although there were the first 2 fights were serious boxing. I thought the main event did shock me. I was, Mike, I got to give him props because I didn't think he could make the full 8. I really didn't. After 15 years and the way his career ended, I didn't think he could make the 8. He made the 8. Props to him. I actually, glad that they called it a draw. So it solidified the fact that this was just an exhibition.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that point. I definitely agree.
And I agree. I think the people got their money worth from everything from the concerts. I wasn't as high as some people was on the commentary. There were times I was like, man, Snoop, and you're pretty high right now. Some of the stuff he said was funny. I agree. It's just maybe I'm more biased because, I'm more towards that Paulie Malignaggi type. But all in all, I enjoyed it.
Celebrity card, though.
What'd you say?
I mean, but that was. Did you think that it was supposed to be looking like a actual card, or were you?
I agree with you. I agree with you there. I maybe I came at the commentary a little bit more like towards how I normally would a professional event. You know what I mean?
I agree. Okay.
All right, so let's get to the co-main event. I tried to tell y'all what was gonna happen. You guys weren't feeling me, but I told you that he was gonna go out there and destroy Nate, and that's what happened. what did you think of Jake Paul's performance?
I mean, I was picking on emotion, man. Nate, you know what I'm saying? Fellow alumni, UW Husky. You know what I'm saying? So, I had to pull for him. But, I mean, I guess I was impressed with Jake Paul for what it was. Was it Jake or Logan?
It was Jake.
Okay, so I was impressed with Jake for what it was, and I mean I forgot to take in a realization that he has been training seriously the last couple of years with Bones Adams. So I mean, more proud. He's definitely not doing his thing.
He was training with Jalen Love and PJ Flores this go round.
Okay.
Yeah. So before that was with Shane Mosley. And I think even Nassim Richardson was in the camp a little bit with them. Like 2 or 3 years ago when he did his first professional fight. My opinion, it went down as I thought it would. Nate hadn't had enough time to train. You can't play boxing. Now, afterwards, Jake Paul had started to call out some fighters, actual real fighters. And in my opinion, if he's going to continue this route and we're going to continue to push him as a fighter, he needs to start fighting some people with some type of fighting background. You can't just keep fighting people that are debut fighters and with no experience, because you're going to end up getting someone hurt. And I believe I've already seen word that if there's a Holyfield exhibition, he's going to fight another YouTuber, and I'm completely against this. If he's going to continue, he's got to start fighting some guys who know how to box him back.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. I'm not a big fan of this YouTube sensation shit personally. I definitely want to see him fight some real live competition as far as guys that have, at least 4 or 5 wins, something like that, at the same level of his experience essentially. So, I mean, I'd like to see that, just like you said. Yeah, Nate got his block knocked out. That was pretty crucial. But I mean, like, he's been taking this serious. So, I mean, he did what he was supposed to do. But like you said, I don't want to see any more of the YouTube stuff as far as that going. I've seen enough. What do you think about Antonio Tarver calling him out? A lot of pro fighters seem to be calling him out for some reason.
Well, wouldn't you? I believe they made $600K on that. So I'd be calling him out too. Here's the thing though with Jake. If Jake's gonna fight, as I said, if he's gonna continue to box, he's got to start fighting people who have experience, right? But I think it's too much of an ask to ask him to just jump in the ring with an Antonio Tarver. If we were gonna take him serious, we got to take him like, okay, he needs to be brought along the same way you would bring along a prospect.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe even a little slower with, because he has no amateur background. But again, if he's going to continue, I don't really want to see it, but if he's going to continue to do it, he's got to start fighting people that can fight, box him back, that can protect themselves. Because Nate had no idea how to properly protect himself in that fight.
Yeah. I mean, well, I'm not sure how much time he had to train for this, but I mean, still doesn't compare to, as long as Jake Paul's been doing this as far as his background and training so far. He has a couple of experience, a little bit of experience as far as his YouTube fights already. Is this his third or fourth?
This is his second professional fight.
Okay, second professional. Okay, that one was just a YouTube. Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
All right. Well, let's get off of this extravaganza. I'm not going to hate on it. I enjoyed it. I'd buy another one if they put it out there. But let's get into some real boxing. That same day, there was a big fight for a lot of people, particularly in the UK, in the heavyweight division. And that was between Daniel Dubois, I think I said his name right, and Joe Joyce. I'll just call him Triple D. But ended up shocking a lot of people. I'll give you props for that, man. You picked right there. It was about time. You got one over on me.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
All right. So I was a bit shocked how easily Joe Joyce was able to keep him at the end of that jab most of the night. I know there was some people that had Triple D up before he got stopped. I think he was even leading on the scorecards, which shocked me because I thought Joyce was clearly winning the fight, even at the point that Daniel took a knee. What did you think of Joyce's performance?
Like I said, I called it. I figure it's going to be a galootish of a fight, as much as both of these guys are hyped up. So, I mean, it definitely lived up to at least what I thought it was going to be as far as the strategy, as far, what we saw from Joe Joyce. Like, he lulls his opponents to sleep. Like, it doesn't look pretty. I mean, he looks like he doesn't look the part, you know what I'm saying? But he rises to the expectation every time, and he's faced this different competition all along. So it definitely proved in this fight that, Daniel Dubois was brought along maybe a little bit too slow. And, they put him in that against Joe Joyce. Like, the experience, I never thought, like, they shouldn't have done that based on the experience. Like, that was never a good fight to make for me as far as Dubois, but he had to step up at some time too. So, I mean, I'm glad he stepped up, and I mean, hopefully he gets better. He has a broken eye socket, so hopefully he can come back from that.
A lot of people's initial. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What is it with the Brits and the eye sockets, man? The Brits and the broken eye sockets.
Speaking of that, a lot of people, the initial reaction from a lot of the UK ex-fighters was to condemn Daniel, saying he quit. I thought even at the time it looked a bit like he conceded the fight. It wasn't, I don't like to call a fighter a quitter or say, that, you know what I mean? But I thought at the time it looked like he conceded. Later on, it came out, how much damage he actually had done. But I haven't seen a whole lot of their professional fighters give any apologies. You think that the sports media and some of the fighters and fans owe Triple D an apology?
No, I mean, you got to understand at the end of the day, like, these guys are gladiators. Like, some of them want to fight, like they said, a lot of them said they would rather be knocked out, for the most part than to bow out like that. But shit, David Hayes shouldn't have been talking. We've seen him bow out before, come to think of it. But yeah, I definitely think these fighters are definitely entitled to their opinion. Like, they've been in there. They've lived the sport, the wars. So I mean, if they feel that's what their mentality is, I have no problem with them expressing it.
Okay. Shout out to Clarence McLean. Malachi Twine, my brother, salute Kings. Then he came back. He said he missed that fight. It was a pretty good fight, Clarence. You had to go check that one out on YouTube. All right, I pretty much agree with you too. But I do would like to. I do think that sometimes we jump on fighters too much for the way if they call people quitters or whatever. But that's just my opinion. So let's jump into some big news in women's boxing that came out this week. The GWOAT came out and has confirmed that she has signed a contract, I believe, with PFL, Professional Fighting League, which is a mixed martial arts league. She says that she plans to fight 2 or 3 times in the PFL and at least 2 boxing matches in 2021. For me, that's a lot of potential damage you can do to your body. I understand that she's not getting the money that she feels she deserves in boxing currently. I'll get into how I blame that on the promoters in a little bit. But Twine, what do you feel about that news?
I mean, she's crying with what's her name? Christine Da Silva, or I forgot what they call her. In the she was in the UFC. Mm-hmm. But, I guess I was surprised to see it happen so soon, as far as her expectations of starting in 2021 as well. I don't necessarily agree with it, as far as you're saying, like, it being good for a boxing career, as far as the wear and tear that goes with MMA. I mean, I have another question as far as like, are people going to take her competition any more seriously? You know, in in the MMA side of things, you know, especially coming up as a prospect, if she's not in somebody that's, you know, a known opponent or a big name, do you think she'll really have the attraction or bring that attention, you know, from her boxing career?
I don't know who the roster is over at the PFL. I haven't got to take a look at it. You know what I mean? Of course, if she was to succeed in the PFL, you know, the cry from people will be, well, it's the PFL, it's not the UFC. You know what I mean? But I haven't seen their roster, so I don't know what fighters they have over there currently enough to speak on the competition. If my only worry for Claressa, because Claressa is super athletic, if anybody could learn quickly, it'll be Claressa, but still at the same time, I would have preferred that if she was going to move over to MMA, that she began some type of grappling martial arts 4 or 5 years ago. Because if she gets on the ground, it could be bad. I'm not saying that Claressa's going to lose. I'm not saying, you know what I mean, anything like that. And yes, Clarence, we have seen some boxers get pummeled in the MMA, but we also seen a boxer beat one of their former heavyweight world champions once.
Even Ray Mercer was good in transitioning over from boxing.
So, but typically it don't go well because you do got to have a complete fight set to you, fighting game. You know what I mean? You gotta be able to be good in multiple martial arts, not just this one.
Like I said, that's why I said I was surprised about the fast start as far as her starting next year. You know, competition. You know, there's a huge learning curve in MMA. You know, you got 3 different levels. You know, as far as the martial arts are, you know, striking. You know, between boxing, kickboxing, the grappling side of it. You know, wrestling. Then you got all the holds. You know, like, so it's a lot to learn. You know, we're seeing Amanda Serrano do it as well. But she actually took a little bit more time before she debuted. But I mean, she's been successful with it, and even in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournaments, as far as transitioning over from boxing. And you know, she's been juggling both. So I mean, I guess Claressa can, as long as she learns, you know, like you say, that grappling game. You know, that's going to be most important for her, especially to protect her athleticism and the boxing side of it.
But see, here. I don't, you know, I hate to get completely in this subject because we're on it's a boxing page, but I don't know. I agree, Clarence. I don't know that she necessarily has to become an expert at grappling. I think what she really has to get good at is being able to defend against the shoot. Get out of the hold, because she can keep the fight stand up. She's clearly got a huge advantage over every woman in the PFL.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with you. You know, definitely probably we have more athleticism, you know, as far as movement.
All right. What was our I hate to see it. I'll close the topic out just by saying I hate to see it. It sounds like you hate to see it as well. However, you know, if anyone could do it, it's the ultra talented Claressa Shields. We wish her as much luck as possible, and hopefully she gets the compensation that she deserves. All right, next topic. I believe it's something I didn't know. I thought he had called out someone else, but you said that Keith Thurman had called out Spence Jr.
Yeah. I mean, Keith is just talking, trying to get some publicity, I guess. You know, called out Errol, saying he wants to fight him. You know, I think he said Bud as well in one of his. I mean, he just said he was calling out all major welterweights essentially.
Okay.
I mean, specifically, he said Errol Spence as well. You know, he's been talking about him the last couple of weeks. I've seen in a couple interviews. So, I mean, I thought that was pretty interesting that Keith is actually calling them out now that he's titleless. You know,
well, he wants that money.
Yeah, I definitely could agree. It's definitely another payday on pay-per-view, possibly.
Well, I think he's hungry for a title too. I'm surprised though he don't call out Manny Pacquiao. Does he think he just don't want that fight again, or does he think that Manny?
He said he wants the rematch as well for Pacquiao because I thought it was a good fight the second half. The second half of the fight was actually better than people realize as far as his performance. But I definitely would like to see a rematch with Pacquiao. Considering what I saw in the second half of the fight, I would be interested in seeing it. But no rematch clause, so he's crawling his way back up. I'd like to see him get in there with somebody, period, just to see if he's got it. He's taking a lot of time off, and he's had some injuries, over the last couple of years that's affected his activity. So, I just want to see him in there with somebody competitive, for his first fight back. I'm not worried about him going out there, Errol Spence. Even though Spence has said, since you weren't messing with me before, like. That's dead. You can forget that, homie. So
you see what Clarence he said. Keith needs that check. He's married. A wife costs a lot. Oh boy, you're gonna get us in trouble, Clarence. You're gonna get us. Have him coming on here canceling us. Talk like that. All right, but even if I won this fight, and I'm pretty sure I think I have heard Spence say he's not fooling with him.
Yeah.
Because what did Thurman tell him? Like beat somebody and like which is funny because wasn't it Keith the whole time calling out Paulie, telling him don't duck me, son, and then the whole time he was telling Errol basically the same thing Paulie was telling him. So it is what it is. I like Keith. I would like to see him fight one of the better fighters in the division as well.
Even Ugas would be a good one.
Yeah, I get him calling out Errol, particularly this week. It makes sense. Errol's name's going to be everywhere. I don't know about your timeline. Every time I flick through it, if I went far enough, I'd run into one Fox commercial after the other for that pay-per-view. So I can get why he's doing it. Now let's get right into that pay-per-view. We'll talk the main event. And then if we got time, maybe we could have some, if anybody want to jump on, we can have a short 5-10 minute discussion with some people about their opinion about it after we give ours. Start off, who you taking? And let's start off like this. What are your keys to the fight for each fighter?
Okay, as far as Danny Garcia, I think he needs to not worry about still be a counter puncher, but he needs to get off first, a lot. He definitely needs to display that in this fight as far as keeping up with the pace and activity of Spence that we know that he brings from previous car accident Spence. But we know what kind of activity he brings as far as output. He stays busy, keeps you thinking, real methodical. So for Danny, I think he needs to be first in a lot of these situations and get off first. Maintain his jab, I think the straight right is going to be important for him. Counter right, pull right if he could do that in timing Spence as far as what is coming up with Spence's jab, as a counter. So I think that would be something to look for from him is countering with that punch. I don't think he should try to exchange with him too much. So like I said, keep his distance and get off first. I like to see that kind of fight from Danny, like outbox him, because I'm not sure. We never seen Danny really get into a war, you know what I'm saying? And we seen Spence go against Porter. That was ultimate war, you know.
Think that Garcia Thurman fight was a bit of a war, or the Garcia Porter?
Sean makes every fight that way. So I think that was just that style, but I didn't think Danny and Keith was really much of a war. There was a couple of good exchanges, but it was just another fight to me. It was a good fight though.
Okay. I like that. All right, now who you taking and why?
I'm going with Errol. I'm gonna say I'm slightly biased, because we get DJ on here all the time and talk to him a lot, about their whole thing. So, but I've always been a man's down kind of guy as far as a man down kind of guy. As far as Spence's career, since I've been following him since most people since he was amateurs as well. So, I mean, it's good to see him doing what he's doing. It's good to see him back. And he says he's feeling healthy and more focused than ever. He's not taking the second chance of life for granted. So, I mean, I definitely think Spence is going to win this fight. And, I think he's going to put on a spectacular performance because he feel like he has a lot of doubters right now, saying he's not going to come back the same. And so, I mean, I definitely have him pulling. Probably UD. I'll go with UD.
Okay. I agree with your synopsis of the fight. I think Danny's got to start quick, fam, and I think Danny's got to make it a war. I think he's got to because if he tries to box Errol Spence Jr., he's going to lose. Errol Spence Jr. is the far superior boxer, in my opinion. I think Danny's going to have to be on the inside. I think he's going to have to start fast. I think Danny's chance to win this fight is to stop Errol Spence. That said, I don't think he's going to be able to. I think Errol's going to be able to control the distance. I think Errol is, again, the superior boxer. No knock against Danny. Danny's he's a very good fighter. I just think this is, Errol's time until, he fights, Crawford, and we find out which one of them it's truly whose time. You feel me? So I got Errol winning this fight. I got him also winning by UD. I'd like to pick him to stop Danny. But we haven't seen, that we haven't seen Danny, hurt or dropped.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think his chin's good enough that he'll survive the fight. I just think that Errol will win the fight by unanimous decision. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drop the link to the show in the chat. Anybody that would like to come on and give their opinion on one of the topics, they can click the link. We'll wait around for a little bit. If anybody don't jump on, I guess we'll call it a show. Do you mind, Twine?
No, I'm good.
Let's see if anybody jumps on. We'll give them a little bit of time. In between that, so next week is the 12th, right? Or no, the 12th. Okay, so that's going to be Anthony Joshua and Pulev. You give Pulev much of a chance to win that fight. Once again, everybody, I dropped the link to the show in the chat. If you want to jump on and give your opinion about one of the topics, click on the link and come on with us, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see there actually be a live crowd for that Joshua and Pulev event. So, I mean, I'd be interested to see in the UK happening again. On Fight Island and all kind of other stuff as far as match rooms, previous cards during the pandemic. So, I mean, it'd be interesting to see that fight next week. I'm not giving Pulev much of a chance, though. I think he'll be gun shy as usual, like he was against Klitschko. So,
I agree. I think that he's got a puncher's chance because I'm still not sold on Anthony Joshua's punch resistance. That's weird because I was very high on Anthony Joshua about 3 years ago, and then the reality started to seep in as the competition got better. You know what I mean?
It's looking like he's thinning up, keeping the same size that he was against Andy Ruiz. I think he plans on doing a lot more boxing that way. His body type was looking still the same way from the Ruiz fight. So, I mean, he is slimming down as far as the muscle tone, all the muscles. So, I mean, I think, I don't know, it'd be interesting to see what he does with the rest of his career, if that's going to be part of his new style, or if he can maintain that. But like you said, I definitely agree. I don't necessarily trust his punch resistance against anyone.
Exactly. Me either. Well, don't look like anybody jumped on, so we'll go ahead and roll out if you don't mind, man, because I gotta deal with my little children over here.
I hear it, man. I hear that. You got your lights up on?
Man, I have been working from home now. You know what I mean? And my children are here with me 3 days of the week, 24 hours. And I have never wanted to get away from them more in my life, but I still love them. So, but all right, like I said, I got to run, man. Appreciate you, man. It was a great show, even though it was short. Look, this Wednesday, there's going to be a special show. We're going to have Todd Medina. He is TikTok's fight coach. He has over 400,000 TikTok followers. He's a former UFC fighter. If you're on TikTok, look up the fight coach. He gives excellent boxing instructions. He has a boxing team. And he was supposed to come off last Friday, but one of his guys ended up fighting in an event. He's going to come on and talk boxing in the UFC with us. I'm hoping you're going to be able to be on Twine as well. And we'll have that conversation with Todd Medina next week. What we got? So before we go, if anybody wants to come on, I'll put the link one more time in the chat, because I see we got a few more people pulled up. If anybody wants to come on, talk a little boxing with us, they can. If not, we're gonna roll out real fast. I'll give you all a couple more minutes. This guy wish they had a way we could do the show from StreamYard and get calls, but
yeah. I was talking about the Canelo intro earlier. I think as far as like I said, one of the topics I seen come up in a boxing group this week was as far as Canelo giving Callum Smith 4 weeks of training time essentially for this fight. And I think Billy Joe Sanders even mentioned something about it in an article earlier, saying that that's not enough time to prepare for Canelo.
No, Billy Joe said that was it 4 months wasn't enough time last time they offered him the fight. Remember? Billy Joe don't want no part of Canelo. He knows he don't want no part of Canelo. 4 weeks is short, but I suppose, a normal camp's what, 8 to 6 weeks? So
I mean 8 to 10, 10 to 12, depending on the fighter. It's generally 8 weeks, I think, though.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it is short notice. It's short notice for Canelo too. I mean, everybody, short notice for Canelo too. Yeah. 4 weeks. So he's only got 4 weeks to prepare for Callum Smith. But what Canelo has done is stayed in the gym and stayed ready.
Yeah.
Shouldn't Callum Smith have been in the gym staying ready for his next opponent? He's the lineal 168 champion.
Yeah, but there's a difference than being in a gym than actual training camp. You know what I'm saying?
Again, what am I saying? Canelo didn't know who his opponent was going to be until Smith knew who his opponent was going to be, right? When they both signed the contract.
But they knew a date and everything. Like Caleb said, he wasn't expecting to get chosen, which I thought was pretty funny. Like, I think he knew he was in the running. Well, I don't even know if he knew if he was in the running.
He had to if he was offered the fight back in March.
Okay, gotcha.
You know what I mean? I mean, like, that. Remember, he turned down $5 million, said he wanted $6 million.
Yeah, but as well, like, they were looking at as far as going with pay-per-view as an option for this fight before Canelo decided on going with the zone, the broadcast this one. So I mean, that's why the fight was pretty much up in there as far as it being with Callum Smith.
All right, Clarence said he's trying to come on to hold on a bit. We'll hang on. We'll talk about this again, bro. So what you're saying is you think that Canelo knew 3 or 4 weeks before Callum that he was going to choose Callum?
No, I'm not. No, not even the opponent. I think just as far as knowing he had that date in mind. Like I think they were planning for that date.
Oh, so you think that he knew he was going to fight on that date, and he just didn't care who he was fighting?
Exactly. Yeah. But I mean,
possible. That's possible, but don't he have that right as the face of boxing as the A side?
I mean, I definitely get some advantages, but that's pushing it to the limit for me as far as letting these guys reflect.
Understand that.
Sure. The couple of fight, I guess he had 10 weeks in between fights.
Yeah. So okay, Clarence. I'm sorry. Clarence joined us. What's up, Clarence? Nice to have you on, man. All right. So was there a particular topic you wanted to chop it up about?
Oh, what were we speaking about again? I lost shots.
Well, if you have one of the ones we went through before, we talked over the Mike Tyson fight, Daniel Dubois card, Claressa Shields moving to MMA. I know you said you didn't like it. What in particular you not like about Claressa moving to MMA?
About the Claressa, we're talking about the Claressa Shields, right?
Yeah.
To me, bad idea. You know, I just feel like, she's only doing it because, yes, she's not getting the fights that she wants. And it's understandable. And she still has bills to pay. She still has a family to take care. So I understand it. But then again, I just feel like it's a bad business move because, you're a gold medalist, you're undefeated. You could, this can go wrong. To be an MMA fighter, you can't become an MMA fighter overnight. You know what I mean? That's blood, sweat, and tears. And I'm not saying that she can't do it, but I just can't. I can see her winning or her, standing up on her feet. But far as like if it's time for a takedown, it can go bad. So I mean, I don't know. To me, it's a bad business move. But at the end of the day, she still has a family to feed. So I can't be too upset with her.
I think it's a good business move. I get what you're saying. It could be bad for her perception if it goes like Heather Hardy. I don't think anybody looks at Heather Hardy the same way that they did before she went in there and got smashed in the octagon. You know what I'm talking about, Twine?
Yeah.
I forgot Heather. You know what? That's a good point, brother. I forgot Heather did the same thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I forgot about that. She sure did.
She became a meme, bro.
Yeah.
For real, like she was a bloody mess. I'm not saying it's going to happen to Claressa, but perception-wise, I don't think anybody looks at her the same because she was a multiple-time world champion, multiple division world champion, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Do you perceive her the same way now? I mean, like, did she got freaking smashed in the octagon?
I mean, people be assuming so too.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I couldn't quite make you out, Twan. What'd you say?
Hold on. Let me sit in the well. Can I sit back out?
Yeah, go ahead. All right. While he's gone, we were talking about Canelo giving Callum Smith. A lot of people have said they're mad that Canelo only gave Callum Smith 4 weeks to prepare. My premise was that everybody's mad about it, but didn't Canelo 4 weeks to prepare for Callum Smith as well?
There was a fight last night. Jesus, I forgot the kid's name. There was a fight last night we was watching. What was the guy? Brandon Adams? Is that his name?
The dude from the contender?
Yeah, he's from California. The fight was on last night. The guy that he fought, that wasn't really supposed to be his original opponent, from what I heard, and it was a short week's notice. And when I see stuff like that, I don't want to use that as an excuse for a fighter to lose. But sometimes, if you're preparing for one fighter, and then for whatever reason that fighter can't fight you, for whatever reason it is, and here it is, you have a new guy. I mean, doesn't that kind of throw you off your game because you prepared for one style, and here come this other style that you didn't prepare for? It's kind of hard to beat that. So, Canelo, I don't think it matters if he can give you 2 years to prepare for him. Let's be real. He's that guy, man. I don't care. You can have 2 years to train for him. As far as the style, unless you're somebody like Charlo or you're Boo Boo, somebody who could probably pull it off. Other than that, I mean, I don't really think it matters how long you have to train with him. Some people you can put in that work and you might get that W against it, but Canelo is just cut from a different cloth. So I don't think it matters how long or how much time you have. Once you go in there with him, it's over.
Okay. Before you left, Twine, you were saying something I couldn't quite make it out. What'd you say, bro?
I forgot what we were talking about as far as I think it's Claressa Shields still.
Yeah.
I forgot what I was going to say already.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll talk one more topic. So earlier this week there was a big thing that came out. Bob Arum had went on. I can't remember where he went on, but he had said that Devin Haney does not deserve a Teofimo Lopez shot. He's gonna have to beat somebody. Clearly, they're looking more toward Ryan Garcia because he brought Ryan Garcia up by name, saying now Ryan Garcia is getting ready to fight Luke Campbell. If he beats Luke Campbell, he'll have beaten somebody. And where Devin hasn't. And so then Devin Haney came back and had said that Bob is what's wrong with boxing. He's saving face for Teofimo for ducking. And he was a ASS Hall of Fame promoter. I'll give my opinion first. Do you believe that Devin Haney has done enough to deserve a shot at Teofimo Lopez?
No, I would like to see it marinate for a fight or two. Let Devin build up his resume as far as fighting a higher level competition. But I mean, if that happens, we might not see it because Teo doesn't necessarily plan on staying at 135 long, to our knowledge. I know we've been hearing about what the George Kambosos fight, the Australian guy. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm thinking that's looking like his next fight actually. Anyway, so
I think it's got to be because he got the IBF strap, and they're not going to play with that.
Yeah. So.
Okay, I'm surprised. I thought you should go the other route. We'll get to Clarence before me. Clarence, do you believe that Devin Haney has done enough to deserve a shot at Teofimo Lopez?
Be honest with you, not after that last performance.
Okay.
Against Gamboa, put him in there with somebody else, and then we could talk about it. But I wasn't impressed with that last performance with Gamboa. I don't know what he had going on, but it wasn't enough for me to say throw him in there with him.
But I thought he boxed quite well. Was it the fact he didn't get the stoppage or the knockout for you that left you with that impression?
You know what? I wasn't expecting him to go in there and knock him out because we can't expect that in boxing. That's the problem that, not saying me and you, but people always expect a knockout. And if it's not a knockout, it's not a fight. It wasn't a fight. Okay. Like you just can't win by a decision. It was nothing that he did that impressed me. And I just said, it really didn't impress me with anything that he did. And I was just like, if you're talking about fighting the Tanks and the Teofimos, man, you got to do a little better than that, man. You know what I mean? Because honestly, Gamboa was a guy that supposedly you was just supposed to win in there and ran over him.
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people went into that fight expecting him to do that to Gamboa. And this was my thing. I do not believe that Devin has done. I would love to see the fight. Devin is one of the most talented young fighters in boxing. I believe he's got the talent to go on and be a undisputed champion, given the opportunity. But the fact is, you got to earn the opportunity. He's beaten nobody in the top 25. The highest ranked guy that he is beaten right now is ranked number 26. And he fought that guy 4 fights ago, right? The last guy he beat, Gamboa, is currently ranked number 32 in the world, right? Teofimo went the hard route. Teofimo went and fought Nakatani, who is currently ranked number 22 in the world. He was actually ranked higher than that before he fought Teofimo. Then he went and he fought Richard Comey, who was ranked number 3 in the world at the time. He beat him too, right? Took his strap, parlayed that into beating who a lot of people thought was the pound-for-pound king of boxing. Beats him. On the other hand, you have Devin Haney. Talented, yes. Great fighter, yes. Gifted his world title. Didn't have to beat no one to get it. He had actually beaten a guy to earn the interim strap. We know that, right? They email him and tell him you're going to now become the full champion. I'm not hating on him over it, but that's how it went down. And now I'm supposed to gift you an opportunity at the king of the division. Nah, my guy, you need to go out and beat somebody. Then we can get, I believe in you. I believe you're great. But just like I always say about Ryan, at some point you got to stop telling us you're great and go prove you're great. Twine, do you have anything more to add to this topic?
Nah, perfectly said, man. Perfectly said.
All right. Well, Clarence, we appreciate you coming on and talking with us, man. We're gonna run out. Appreciate you. I hope once again, if you want to talk boxing, no problem. If you want to talk boxing with Clarence, go to ClarenceMcLean promotions through your Facebook search engine. We love you guys. Y'all have a great weekend. We're looking forward to the fight, and we're out until Wednesday.
All right, y'all.
All right,